How's it going, y'all? I'm about to show you the best pistol build in Fallout 76, and you can do this kind of damage. It won't do as much damage as the railway rifle or the fixer, for instance, which you can check those links guides in the description below. However, if you're a low level player that just started with Fallout 76, or you really like pistols so much in the game, this guide will be really helpful for you. Also take note that you can always upgrade your pistol build into the fixer or railway build by just changing talent after you get those powerful weapons in the future. By using this build, you can also have an extra 85 carry weight. And while doing quests, you can actually take the easy options. As you have more stats compared to normal build, you can cheese through all these dialogues with maximum perception, luck, strength, charisma, you name it. So why is the low health build so strong and overpowered? You have to look at the armor that we're using for the low health build, which is Unyielding set. It'll give you +3 to all special stats for each armor. So if you're equipping 5 pieces of armor, you'll actually gain +15 to all your special stats. That is the main reason you got the increased carry weight, as well as using your stats to take the easy options during dialogue. So I'm gonna show you how to make your own low health build as detailed as possible to help you guys out. So be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the channel. So firstly, you want to visit player vendors, especially during weekends, and you want to look for the Unyielding armor. You want to collect 5 of this armor. It doesn't matter what it is, leather, light or heavy armor, as long as you guys got 5 pieces of this armor to complete the set, you guys will be good to go. Also, if you guys need help finding these items, you guys can join the Discord link in the description below where people are helping each other out. Alright, next we're looking for a weapon. There are a few types of weapon that you guys want to keep your eyes on. Firstly, we have the anti-armor. These weapons are really good against bosses or targets with high armor. You guys want to pay attention to the secondary and third stats as well, as that will determine the price of the weapon. But for starters, you guys just want to pick the primary stat, as it'll be good enough. The next weapon type that you guys need to look for are the Bloodied weapons. While equipping a Bloodied weapon, the lower your health is, the more damage your weapon can do, up to 95% of weapon damage, which is pretty insane to be honest. Although it's not that good against bosses or target with armor, this is still a solid choice. For example here, I just got a basic Bloodied suppressed 10mm auto pistol, which I got from another player vendor. It'll give you damage increase up to 95% as health decreases. So the lower your health, the more damage you can do, up to 95% more damage. My second and third stats for this pistol are not that great. They are pretty much useless, with 50% batch damage that I won't ever use. 90% weight reduction, which is pretty handy, but it's not useful for any damage. That 20% armor penetration will be useful as always against bosses. And also the next stats that we're going to be focusing will be the quad, which will give you 4 times ammo capacity. Depending on your secondary stat, let's say you have quad and explosive, that would be really awesome. Also, I have the superior 10mm auto pistol, which is the quad gunmetal suppressed 10mm auto pistol that gives me 300% more ammo capacity, 50% critical damage for the secondary, which is way better than my Bloodied pistol counterpart, as well as 25% action point cost reduction, which is pretty huge. Firstly, I don't have to reload that many times due to my magazine capacity, and the critical damage as well as the action point reduction really helps, as I'm constantly going to use that VATS. And also next we have 2-shot, which will give you double projectile per shot. This will be my least favorite choice. However, it'll depend on your weapon as well if you have a huge burst damage. So before I'm going to be showing you my low health pistol build, I'm just going to show you the damage that the quad pistol and the Bloodied pistol can do to the Behemoth as well as Super Mutants in Fallout 76. I won't be doing Scorch Beast because I don't have an anti-armor 10mm pistol right now. which is good for high-end armored bosses. As for now, it'll be too time consuming. I've tried the quad pistol against the Scorch base and managed to get within like 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, now let's talk about perks. Here are the perk cards that I'm using, which I'll be explaining to you why I chose them. Firstly, you don't need any legendary perks for this, which means low level players can still do the same amount of damage. You guys can get the extra carry weight and also will be able to choose all stats during quest dialogues. So for strength, I only have 2 points in blocker. This perk is really good against melee enemies. I only have 2 points because I feel confident to kite them, but if you guys are struggling with melee enemies, I would suggest to get 3 out of 3. Alternatively, you guys can choose Barbarian as well, as it'll give you more damage resist if you have more strength. You can also choose Barbarian and Blocker at the same time. Next, we have the Tank Healer, which is super crucial as well, as your rifle will ignore 36% of armor, as well as you have 9% chance of staggering the enemy. For the concentrated fire, you just need 1 point for this, as you need to switch targets during VETS mode. For example, you can switch target to the head, or you can target the arms while in VETS mode. Alright, for endurance, usually I pick 3 out of 3 fireproof, which will give me 45% fire resistance, and also explosion. And since you have that big red bar in your health bar, you want to be choosing radical, as it'll give you more strength the more radiation that you have. Next, in charisma, you will need Tenderizer, which is the bread and butter for any damage build in the game. Basically, every time you attack an enemy, it'll put a 10-second debuff, which will allow you to do 10% more damage to that enemy. And since you're running a low health build, you'll need Nerd Rage, as it will give you 40% damage resist, 20% damage, and 15% EP regen. You'll get all this if you're below 20% health. Next, I always like to use Gunsmith, as my guns will break 50% slower. However, if you have explosive in your weapon stats, if I want to maximize the damage, I want to be using the Demolition Expert. That will give you 60% more explosive damage. Alright, the most fundamental perk cards that you need for automatic pistol will be the Gorilla, Master Gorilla, and Expert Gorilla perks, as these cards will give you 20% damage each while you're using your automatic pistol, which means a total of 60% damage increase. Also take note, while modifying your pistol, you need to make sure that you change the receiver to automatic. If you don't have this receiver unlocked, you may need to craft and scrap 10mm pistol over and over again until you finally unlock them, or you can purchase from any player vendor, which is way easier. The perk that you want to be focusing will be Gun Fu. If you kill an enemy with that, it will jump to another target with 10% increased damage. Then once that target is dead, it will switch to another target with 30% increased damage. Next, we have 5 out of 5 Adrenaline, which will allow you to gain 10% extra damage after killing an enemy. This perk is really good just to keep the momentum up. Bloody Mess is necessary, as you need that 15% extra damage. Serendipity and Ricochet are both defensive perks. Since you're having such low health in this build, you may need a lot of defensive perks. Next, we need better criticals. VATS will now do 100% damage, and most of our attacks will be using VATS, and you won't be normally aiming down sight and shooting targets. And finally, we have Critical Savvy, which allows our critical hits to just consume 55% of the critical meter. This means more critical hits that are good for us. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you find this video useful, be sure to hit the subscribe for more future Fallout 76 videos. This is Joe, and I'll see you next time.